Hi guys and gals, Naomi back with IGN's E3 live show, streaming live on e3.ign.com. So last year we got the Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and this year has already seen Shift 2. So what's next for Need for Speed? Well, how about a story? Peter is now here to see Need for Speed The Run.
Hey everybody, Peter Eichmann's here with another segment of IGN Live. I am sitting here with Jason DeLong, an executive producer on the Need for Speed series, here to talk about The Run. So Jason, give us a quick rundown of what's changed, because it's big this year.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of changes with Need for Speed this year. It starts really with the concept of the game, which is it's about an illicit high-stakes race across the country from San Francisco to New York, which for us in the Need for Speed world, it's actually a really unique opportunity because it allows us, for the first time, to visit real locations across the country. In the past, we've always created, fictional cities or counties, but for the first time in Need for Speed, you're actually going to go through real locations. So, from the urban centers of Chicago and San Francisco, among others, to more importantly, really the whole vast, epic drive across the U.S. So you're going to go through the deserts and across the mountain passes and through the rural farmlands, and you're basically going to see it all.
Okay, so since it's a real focus on story this time around, what is it that kicks off The Run?
Yeah, the story of The Run is a story of a guy named Jack Rourke who's got a bit of a spurious past. At the beginning of the game, we find him in a situation, a less than ideal situation, shall we say, and it basically forces him into this race for his life. He basically has to be the first one to New York, and if he doesn't, let's just say he's going to have some problems down the road. So that's sort of what kicks it off. We got more story points to talk about later, obviously, but suffice to say, there's as you see in our E3 demo, there's the mob is interested in the fact that Jack's in the race, and when he gets to Chicago, they're also interested in making sure he doesn't finish the race.
So the general wrappings of the game is probably a legal street race across the country?
It's definitely illicit. The police are not too happy that you're doing this. You do encounter them from time to time in the run as well. The idea behind the story is that we really want to make sure that in going to Frostbite 2, which is another thing that's new for Need for Speed, we want to be able to really tell a story in a way we haven't been able to before, because we had this this great racing engine in the past, but it was about cars and races. So really what would happen was you'd have this amazing racing white knuckle adrenaline experience, and then we would play a movie to tell you how the story was going, and then you'd do another race. This year with Need for Speed, the fact that we can put a character in the game for the first time and you're playing as a real hero character, provides us a lot of opportunity for great storytelling, and it also gives us opportunity to do things like you're seeing now, which is to get the character out of the car from time to time.
Yeah, that's what I think we were all a little bit shocked to see. The real big reveal here was that you're not just in the car the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, for us, in the end, it's in the 8 of the story, and it's not a huge part of the game. It's less than 10% of the game, but for us, it was really about, as I said, keeping the player engaged in the story all the way. So it's not about sitting down and watching a movie about how the story's progressing. It's about living this cinematic experience all the way through. So for us, it's also about the gameplay and the adrenaline that you feel when you're racing. We don't want that to end. So when we have to get Jack out of the car for a story reason, it's a great metaphor for changing cars or trying a different type of gameplay. We wanted to make sure that we kept that adrenaline up the whole time. So, people talk a little bit about how we got quick time events. That's one of the types of mechanics we have in the out-of-car sequences. But really, it is all innate of the story and the gameplay, and wanted to keep the player engaged the whole time, keep them immersed in the story.
Okay, so, I mean, you said a lot of it is these quick time events, but are there going to be alternatives when he's out of the car as well?
Yeah, definitely. He gets out of the car from time to time, and there are quick time events when there's high action moments, but as you'll see near the end of the demo, we also have a really nice kind of gestural control scheme, which is more about a puzzle solving and something more akin to like a Heavy Rain type game.
Okay, interesting. Now, I guess since it is, how do you see this fitting into the Need for Speed banner overall?
Well, I think it's, Need for Speed is huge. It's a massive brand, and it's gotten to the point where we're able to offer different offerings within the Need for Speed universe, and each one's unique. One's not a sequel of the next. You know what I mean? So, Hot Pursuit came out last year, did an amazing job. Obviously, great arcade racer. Then obviously we have Shift 2 came out this year as well, which is more of a sim, track-based game. And we're kind of somewhere in between. Our handling is not as arcadey as Hot Pursuit. It's definitely not a simulation as Shift. It's really a nice feel between. Each car has a personality. It behaves the way you believe a car like that would behave. It's easy to pick it up and play, but it does take time to master to really be able to get those drifts around the corners and things. And it's an action racing experience. So we do have obviously a lot of pure racing, especially we've got over 300 kilometers of racetrack in the game this year. We were able to, with Frostbite, create more than 3 times the track than been in any previous Need for Speed, because we really wanted that epic journey to come across. So it is about obviously this huge race, racing against hundreds of racers across the country. But from time to time, you get levels like this where Jack is pushed up against a wall basically and has to get back in the race. So he has to unfortunately punch out a cop, steal his cop car, race for his life away from the mob so that he can continue on with the race as quickly as possible.
We've all had those weekends.
Well,
really.
times are hard.
And I guess since so much part of it is the fact it's kind of following a racing storyline, what other kind of I guess you'd call them events, maybe? What kind of events are we going to see?
Yeah, well,
Besides
we do tease some stuff in our latest trailer, the Death from Above trailer. Going to Frostbite, there was a lot of reasons behind it, obviously. Like, it's a great artist tool. It gives us amazing visuals. You see, we're on PS3 here, and the game looks absolutely gorgeous. Killer audio, obviously. And, it wouldn't be Frostbite if it wasn't about destruction. So, you get some great world destruction. You just saw the helicopter there taking out those pillars.
Yeah.
It gives us the ability to, do a lot of rock'em sock'em smash up type racing. And you're going to see some stuff in the environment as well in later reveals, later levels that we show off where we're able to recreate some pretty amazing destructible environment things that happen during the course of the race that kind of keep the player on the edge of their seat.
Yeah, and I guess kind of in addition to that, with the power of Frostbite 2, what other kind of things are we going to notice, either in the cars itself, the control, or the world around the cars?
It's kind of all those things, right?
Okay.
It's the fact that we've been able to put an amazing physics system into Frostbite. We're partnering with our friends at DICE and creating what we believe is just the next generation engine on current gen platforms. From the world destruction to the visuals to quite frankly, to be able to put a character in a racing game for the first time. And it's not a case of, usually when you have a character car game, one of them suffers, right? But we're actually able to do both to incredible high quality, so we're really happy about that.
Definitely, and I think it's been known or seen in a lot of ways that the Need for Speed series has really been about the cars. Mm-hmm. And you're saying that it falls in between Hot Pursuit's arcade and Shift's realism. Mm-hmm. But is any of this about kind of name brand cars, or is it more the style of car?
Oh no, I mean, we obviously have a huge list of licensors that we work with on Need for Speed. You're going to see, we're not unveiling the car list yet, but you're going to see a very, very impressive car list in the run. One thing that we wanted to do, though, was make sure that each car had a bit of a personality. We use the word human a lot when we're developing the game, both from the story and the characters, but also the cars. So that's in the handling of the cars, making sure that they really do behave like you believe a car like that would behave. But also that each car is a bit unique. So a good example is in our Chicago demo, we could have put a standard Ford Mustang in the game, and that would have been great. I mean, it's a great, American muscle car.
It really is, yeah.
But what we decided to do was actually go to Shelby and put the Ford Shelby Super Snake Edition, which is a 750 horsepower version of the Ford Mustang. So we kind of followed that philosophy for almost every car you're going to see in the game. It's not just the one you can go and buy off the lot. It's a really kind of a rare edition of. Another example is we have the Bmw M3 in the game, but it's the Bmw M3 GTS. There's only 425 of those in the world. So for gearheads, it's really cool because it's the type of car that you're never going to see in any other game, and you're not going to be able to experience anywhere else but in the run.
Now, for the kind of people who do love cars, and when you think racing game, you think you're either going to earn or be able to purchase cars. How is the run going to reflect being able to use the car you want to drive?
Well, the run is one part of the game as a whole. The story mode, essentially, if you will. And within that, we've got a whole series of events where Jack is basically forced to pick a car at the beginning, and then there's a moment where Jack might get forced out of the car and have to find a way to get another car. So there is a variety of car selection across the run, but there's also other modes we're not talking about now where we'll see even more experience with cars.
All right, definitely, yeah. It sounds like you guys have a lot more to reveal going into the future.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, and for now, that's Need for Speed The Run. We're going to see more in the coming months and hear more about the tale across the country. Back to you, Naomi.
Thanks for that look, guys. Coming next, we're going to go back to the days of 8-bit graphics. A new downloadable game called Retro City Rampage is next.